Good evening to those in India time, and good morning to those in USA, other time zones. And my name is Roy Das Manthina, and people call me Roy. I'm based out of Boston area in America, and back home I'm from Armoor, Nizamabad area, Telangana state. So thank you for this opportunity to introduce Global NRI Forum. So, the Global NRI Forum is a group of like minded people with progressive, democratic, and constitution respecting people from India, all of us, primarily. Actually, this group has people from all over India, Maharashtra, North, South, all states, around 400 of us. So, we primarily focus on education, um, skill development, social justice, topic, the labor topic. And I have my closest cousin who is a assistant or deputy commissioner of labor. She tells me the stories very, very appalling. How, as a society, country, we neglected this, labor issues and underage labor issues. So, on behalf of Global NRI Forum, and we thank you and for the speaker, and thanks to the participant. Thank you, Padma Jagar. Back to you.
KLN Garu, please, can you introduce SDF?
Yeah, so thank you very much and welcome to all. Social Democratic Forum, the name itself indicates that there are many organizations in the name of democracy. But this is social democracy, basically to involve the people from the various sections. I think India is a extremely great hierarchical society. So involve each and every uh, person from below. That is the objective of social democracy. And some of us, doctors, lawyers, professors, and retired IAS officers came together uh, to form this SDF, especially when an incident happened. Of course, every day there are incidents, there are atrocities on Dalits and women. When an atrocity took place on Dalit woman and she was actually killed in police station, and that incident we have gathered to fight against those perpetrators. And of course, it's not confined to that incident alone. And it is a we are taking so many other issues like education, health, and agriculture. Of course, unorganized workers, and which is the uh, base of this society. And today's talk is it is very, very fortunate that on unorganized workers and who are the most neglected sections, and working among them is the it has a lot of significance. And we have also another agenda, caste violence. So we also published some documents on each of these. And it is, of course, a civil society organization. It is non-governmental and non-corporate, and we have to also say self-financing in the sense that the members themselves spend for whatever expenditure, meetings and tours and doing any activity. So, and apart from this, we have been influencing the government policies also in some sense. Particularly, I have to refer to this night stays in 10 districts, which has brought a policy called um, Mana Manavuru Manabadi, and under that some facilities were provided in some schools, not all the schools, because that has not been implemented properly, and because it requires a lot of mobilization from below. And one more thing, briefly, we also conducted a bus yatra against the authoritarian BRS government. Also, I want to mention uh, basically about the BJP RSS forces, and everybody is talking now that how to face this. And today, just I came out from the meeting where a headmaster was attacked by Sangha Farwar forces entering into school. So it is everywhere, and attacks are going on. But we have conducted and in a way took risk and campaigned against BJP during the time of elections. So, so without also now presently we are working and campaigning to allot 15% of the state budget for education, and Congress has already promised, but it is not implementing. So we want to build pressure from particularly parents, and that is the current campaign. And so without taking much more time, I uh, yeah, this is what briefly about SDF.
Thank you, Professor KLN.
Padmanja madam.
Thank you, Rai
Yeah.
Garu, for introducing Global NRN Forum also. And I invite Nirmala now to introduce the speaker and take the event forward.
Hello, everyone. Good evening in India, and I guess good morning in wherever you're joining from in the US. So I have had the privilege of knowing Chandan Kumarji as a rights-based activist. Actually, I have great admiration for him because he has gone great lengths. He has waded through troubled waters to secure the rights of the poor and vulnerable, particularly in the unorganized sector, actually. So Chandanji is based out of Pune, and in Pune, he coordinates a large network of workers' organizations called Working People's Charter. It is actually a network of workers' organizations across the country, and he has been actively working on it and working with different organizations under the umbrella of Working People's Charter. He also works closely with Hamal Panchayat. It's a very interesting union of Hamal workers, and he actually helps them articulate their demands. He is with them in and out throughout the process. He has been part of building the union. He has been with the workers, a lot of struggles and strikes and all those things that actually work towards securing their rights. There are very few people who live in Pune and not know about Amal Panchayat today. I also find it a privilege to introduce Chandanji as a bonded labor core committee member of National Human Rights Commission, and he also served in various government and non-government committees for formulating policies that impact millions of workers today. Chandanji is also actively associated with highlighting and fighting bonded labor issues. I have had the privilege of being in some of the discussions where he was fighting the issues of bonded labor in sugarcane industry, shrimp industry. It was not just long ago. I was in a conference call with some of the shrimp workers in Kakinada, and not knowing the language, but I was very surprised to see his depth of knowledge in the issue. I mean, he was talking, I mean, they were talking in Telugu. He was trying to absorb and he was speaking back in English, but there is a beautiful conversation going on. He's also taking the might of Amazon, Coca-Cola, and other multinational organizations, both nationally and internationally, basically to make them accountable to the laws of the land, accountable to the welfare of the workers, accountable to the rights of the workers. Chandanji is also instrumental in building India's first union of gig workers led by women. They most recently observed Black Diwali. It was a digital strike by the women gig workers for addressing the issues of platform-based and gig workers. So there is much more, and I would like the speaker to speak for himself because it is so fascinating to hear from him. So without much further ado, I invite Chandanji to address this evening, and let's have a nice learning and sharing session. Thank you.
it's very overwhelming to hear about you. I mean, thank you, Nirmala ji, for this opportunity. Uh, will anyone going to open their video, because I don't want to feel like I'm talking to a wall. But if any of you can open the
Yeah.
video, yeah. So I
So,
feel like I'm
Chandan,
talking to.
some stay without video due to data issues.
No, no,
So, but those
I'm
who can open, oh, please open
yes, yes,
screen. Yeah.
yes. I don't want to feel like I'm speaking in like a kind of dark room and there's nobody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can also see some of the very known faces. Venkat sir, I know him, and I know the great work he has done for child labor and many people. So lovely seeing you, Venkat sir. Uh, I think I'm coming to the online kind of things in, after a long time, but thanks to Nirmala ji for motivating me to come. I know I've been hearing some great work being done by a global NRI forum and other people, which I didn't know about that before today. So lovely hearing about the efforts being taken by some of you, even sitting like a millions of miles away from here. So great to hear that. And I understand a lot of people in America and like overseas have joined at this moment, Pacific time or Central time or EST or different time zones. I understand that. So good evening, good morning, everyone, wherever people are. Uh, I don't know from where to start and what to say. Bonded labor. I wanted to speak on something else, but Nirmala ji said that bonded labor and connecting bonded labor in current context. Venkat sir, Shanta ji has worked for many years for child labor and bonded labor. I would say they are kind of people authority on this subject. But today I think I would like to imagine. The bonded labor in current context, in current crisis. I, someone, follow international development very closely. It's important because our economy is global, the capital is global. Even you manufacture even a needle in India, and that has a link to the global economy. So to that level, to that extent, the globalization I could see as being a labor activist here in India. Uh, Having said that, coming back from the bonded labor situation, I think it was S.R. Sankaran. I think his I think one of the most celebrated bureaucrat from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. I believe that undivided Andhra Pradesh. I
That's right.
believe that, and D. Bandyopadhyay, some of the people who drafted Bonded Labor Act, and for the first time they basically brought in this whole concept that the Constitution of India, Article 24, talks about Begar system, the abolition of Begar system. And they reimagine that in India, you still, after, decades of independence, you still have forced labor, you still have bonded labor, you still have caste system, you still have feudalism across rural economy of India. And they drafted the Bonded Labor Act. And for the first time, I'm not sure how many of you know that India is the only country in the world which criminalizes non-payment of wages, and that's the Bonded Labor Act. When the Bonded Labor Act came, many people didn't even believe that you have such a situation where you ask someone's mobility, or you don't pay minimum wages to someone that is subject to the criminal obligation. No, I mean, still, a lot of people don't know about it and don't understand that when we file cases and so on. And that's a journey coming from bonded labor in 70s, 76, when the Bonded Labor Act was passed, until today, when you have a big corporates mafia like a Narayan Murthy saying, arguing in the country that 70 hours week work is justified. And then you have a Larsen and Toubro CEO arguing for the 90 hours work week. I don't know how many of you, my NRI friends and comrades, are aware about. There's a big, discussion going here in India. The controversy sparked by the L&T CEO for the 90 hours work week, and the Narayan Murthy, Infosys chairman, 70 hours work week. So I mean, what exactly they are trying to do? They're actually trying to say that bonded labor has to be legalized. I mean, 90 hours work week, like how many hours you're expecting person to almost like a 13 hours every day, 13 hours into 7 is 91 hours. So what exactly you're trying to do? You're trying to bring in and impose the same situation, the same. I mean, many people, when we talk to the workers today, many workers don't even know that there was a Philadelphia Convention, there was a Chicago Rising. Many workers died fighting for the 8 hours of work, 8 hours of leisure, and 8 hours of sleep. So all these historical journey which workers have gone through and achieved something, many workers leaders don't know about it, don't talk about it. So I'm just kind of connecting what is the state of affairs we are dealing at this moment, when you have a respected corporates industrialist trying to bring the 18th century phenomena in the country. Having said that, I would like to specifically talk about 2-3 work more as a case study, which we are fighting, which we are dealing. Maybe that will entail or explain more about what we are trying to do. Of course, situation has changed. We are living in a very difficult time. It's a very, very difficult time in the country. Our democracy is under siege. Our democracy is under attack. There is a growing concerns on the whole agenda of social, economic, and political justice, not only for the working class, for the whole citizens. It's a very, very difficult time here in India. And even in that difficult time, some of us trying to make sense to some of our work. We don't know if we are heading on right direction, or we will get something out of it, but we are trying. Let me start with the sugarcane or sugar industry workers. We are organizing sugar industry workers, largely the sugarcane cutters. If I'm not sure if you know, India is the second largest sugar producers in the world. After Brazil. Brazil is the first largest, and India has become second largest sugar producer of the world. And okay, sugar industry is really notoriously, famous for having a bonded laborers. If you go and just see the sugar farm, you will see the child labor, bonded labor, trafficking, you name the issues. And one of the biggest issue in sugar industry, where the reproductive rights of women workers have been grossly violated. Over 100,000 women had a hysterectomy. Can you believe that, in sugar industry? And you know the reason, because the industry wants to increase the productivity of the workers. That's kind of sparked a huge controversy because of hysterectomy. India has a Nobel Prize in child labor, and still you have a child labor. Some of the people who got the Nobel Prize, they don't speak about child labor anymore. It's also a very sad situation in this country at this moment. So, the way the politics, the way situation is unfolding is very, very serious. There are very few people who are, speaking about all these crises, which many industries happening. India being a second largest sugar producers of the world after Brazil, I said about that large number of sugar are being purchased by some of the big companies, some of the big billion-dollar brands of the world, like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Nestle, Unilever, all these companies. We didn't know much about all these things, because if you talk about the multinationals or supply chain in India, large number of discussions are happening around garment sector. But there are other non-garment sector, particularly I would say rural economy or agro industry. There's not much discussion happening. And we also didn't know until because we are organizing a very powerful union in Maharashtra and Karnataka at this moment. We are just started organizing workers in UP, because Maharashtra, Karnataka, UP combined 85% of total sugar production of India. And until the New York Times started a whole series explaining and detailing out about the sugar industry connection with the global supply chain in India. I think it was mind-boggling data, the way they opened up the data, that how the big corporations, the big companies are buying sugar. And for me, it's a blood sugar. For me, it's the way the whole industry function. You can't even believe that. And it's, for me, it's 100% slavery, 100% bonded labor. There's no doubt about that. But you need a different strategy, you need a different thinking how to deal with the issue. Of course, without having an organization on the ground, you can't do anything about that. And that's a whole mistake. Many campaigners, many advocacy group works in civil society space, and that's my one of the reflection, that then until you don't have workers' power on the ground, you can't you cannot change the situation just through some research or advocacy, which I'm experiencing in many industries. So also about strategy, when people like all of us do that you build the workers' power and use the workers' powers to challenge the market, and that's the whole idea. And we did that, and I can proudly say that we touched upon some of the biggest institutions of the world, to begin with the US government. And I'm not sure how many of you are aware about that. There is a presidential advisory of November 2023, which says that any American companies are found using exploitative labor, the US government has a mandate to clean the supply chain and to check the accountability of those companies. There's a presidential order about that. And we activated White House, we activated the American government system, that boss, please take care of these companies. They are promoting the forced labor, they're promoting bonded labors in India. This was very interesting in a way, the way the US government, if you know this, the unit called ILAB, International Labor Affairs Bureau, which is part of the State Department, has the mandate to do the kind of intervention, to collaborate with the rights holder on the ground, and push the companies to have a dialogue with the rights holder. So we did that. We had a conversation with large number of these brands. We went to meet some of these big brands on the different part of the world, and to understand that what exactly they want to say about that. I think it was an interesting way to sort of exploring the other institutions, especially the global institutions, and also the government institution, that what they can also do it if there's something happens in the global south, particularly the global north companies, which making billions of dollars by using the brands, but on what cost? The cost is the forced labor and bonded labor in the global south. So how you challenge it, how you challenge with some strategy. And most important things opened up for us when we realized the power of global capital. As I said in the beginning, there are some big investment firms or investors fund who have a huge investment in these big food and beverages brand. I give you a small example. New York City Council has an office called Comptroller Office, and Comptroller Office manages the pension fund. What is the size of pension fund? You won't even believe that. It's a $270 billion. And $270 billion fund, and the big chunk of fund is going to these beverages companies. So the comptroller of the New York City government is called Brad Lander, who made the public statement about it, who said that these companies needs to be accountable, and they offered support to us. So for me and for our friends here in India, that understanding the power of government, the power of this big investment and global capital, and then the media, I think it worked very well in addressing the situation. We are not saying that we want to confront these companies. We are not saying that these companies are enemies or something. We would like to have a dialogue. But companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola have been functioning for over centuries. Why would they listen to people like us? But until you don't have pressure, you don't have organizing, you don't have workers' power, these companies are notorious companies. They don't listen to you. So these pressure worked out very well. And we have managed to bring some of these companies on the dialogue table. And we want to say that let's partner, let's collaborate, let's change the situation. You may not think that these are the issues, but this is the issues. I mean, days are gone when you feel that you have nothing to do, because Pepsi company has nothing to do with India as far as the production is concerned. So if, for example, I give you a small example, there is a Pepsi, go down in the Pepsi, there is a company called Varun Beverages. Varun Beverages produces 90% of the Pepsi bottle, 90% of the Pepsi bottle. And beneath the Varun Beverages, you have a sugar mill. Beneath the sugar mill, you have a workers, farmer. So look at the whole supply chain. farmers, workers, bottling industry, then sugar industry is claiming that they are generating ethanol, which worth of billions of dollars. And all these ethanols are being sold to the oil companies. So who are these oil companies, right? So you, until you don't understand this whole supply chain, whose money where, who's spending where, how many workers, I think these are very important information, which we dig it, which we found it, and we understand that the power of the knowledge, power of strategies, and power of the global capital. And we are open at this moment. We want to talk to these people. We want to understand that what is their concern, what is our concerns. But at the end of days, they have to negotiate with us. They have to negotiate with the union. They have to sign the collective bargaining with us so that we together change the situation. So that's one example of sugar industry. There's so much to say, so much to talk about it. But let me just give a pause here. I give you one more example, Amazon. And we are the only union, as Nirmala ji talked about the Hamal Panchayat, which is very celebrated union led by socialist leader Dr. Baba Adab. And we use the Mathadi model. I will take another maybe 2 hours to talk about what is Mathadi model, but some of the people who knows Hamal Panchayat, like Venkat sir, and many people who have visited Pune and Hamal Panchayat, it's a global model. I mean, if you go and read the many global reports, leading government of India reports, you will find Mathadi model is the only way forward for finding solutions for over 600 million informal economy workers. And we use the Mathadi model to bring Amazon on the bargaining table. And I can proudly say that we are the only union who successfully signed the bargaining agreement with Amazon. Now we are finding challenges in implementing it, but still Amazon, who's one of the biggest bully in the world, people who live in America, they know that there was a big strike going on against Amazon across coast of America in the last week of December. Some of our friends, Connor Spence at the Amazon Labor Union at the JFK 8, Staten Island. We know some of our friends who are organizing Amazon workers. And, we realize that Amazon has so much wealth, they don't care about what you say. But that's the whole thing. Until you don't organize on the ground and challenge the impunity of such companies, nothing will change. We did that. We could manage to do it because we had a strong union on the ground. We have a strong political organizing on the ground, and we did it. I'll be very happy to share that order for that. So we are expanding it. It's difficult. Because organizing is not easy at this moment in India, as I said in the beginning. But if you can organize, build the workers' power, you can actually make a lot of change. So Amazon, we got a nice taste of success in recent times. I'll be very happy to talk about the experience of Jitsu, which is the first union led by women gig workers, which I am or some of us are part of building it. Being a founding member, I'm not sure how many of you know that people who live in America, you have the same discourse like a DoorDash or Lyft or Uber and so on, the big platform companies in North America. Similarly, in India, if you come to India, it's like Ola, Swiggy, Zomato. You go to Southeast Asia, you have a Gojek. Or different platforms. You go to Latin America, you have a Didi, which is one of the biggest Chinese venture capital. So you go anywhere in the world, and if you dig it, all the information, you will find a majority of the companies. Majority of the companies are sitting in the the Wall Street or the Silicon Valley. I give you one example: the SoftBank in Japan. And if you dig any of these venture capital or platform companies, they have an investment of SoftBank. And if you find all the big investors of SoftBank, they are the Wall Street people. So what I'm trying to say that the capital have organized themselves so beautifully that the labor movement or the civil society or social movement have not been able to understand that how we organize us, or we organize our information, how we organize our knowledge, who are the institutions, how to use the media, how to do the research. So I think these are things which is lacking. World is changing. I mean, look at the whole power of AI, look at the power of digital side. I mean, we are seeing the new wave of digital capitalism. It's really mind-boggling to see that if you talk to some of these gig workers, platform company will tell you that, we are just a service connector. So you being a worker, you sign in, you provide services, and somebody who takes your services like a service user, a service provider, we are just a connector, we have nothing to do with it. But if you dig it, you will find that most of these workers are forced to be available on app for 12 hours, 14 hours to get a job, right? And what is their earning? You go and ask them. There's sexual harassment. There is a whole forced, the jobs are assigned to you. Women are having, the menstrual period in the monthly way. There is a whole majority of our members, the union members, single mother, women who left the home because of sexual harassment, single mother. There's a whole situation. And then you say that the platform companies are creating jobs is absolutely the bogus argument. And so we don't know. I mean, nobody knows about that. What is the answer? You go to anywhere in the world, even the global north, nobody has any answer. But the organizing is the answer. So we are organizing. We held the first digital strike. I don't know if it happens any other part of the world, but in India it never happened. And the idea of organizing digital strike was to make sure and to convey a message to the company that because of us, your business model is functioning. If we are not available, who are you going to assign the job, right? So women have shown the power. I'm someone who genuinely believe that in this era of organizing and the struggle, it's the women who will make difference. It's the women who will lead the difference. It's the women who will make the change. And I think they are doing it. So everywhere, I mean, you just Google Jitsu or digital strike, you will find hundreds of articles and work. And I think we successfully made a lot of noise about it, because nobody will listen to you until you have some creative ways to, telling your stories or conveying your message. So Jitsu was kind of becoming now, we need to spend more time, we need to watch it more time. But I genuinely feel that this is a kind of new waves of slavery under digital capitalism, where you have like kind of declare bonded labor. I mean, look at the L&T CEO statement. It's a kind of official bonded labor, kind of pronouncement. So we need to really, really challenge that in a way where people understand your language. You have to understand the power of global media. You have to understand the power of global capital. You have to understand that how and who are the people sitting in the different part of the world and how you can ally with them, collaborate with them. You have to understand that now, I mean, I don't have much hope with America, because America on 20th January, you have a different leaders. I think we are shifting our focus to Europe. There is a new law coming, if you know that, CSDDD is called the new EU directives, which talks about the supply chain. And now any companies who use exploitative labor anywhere in the global south, you can actually challenge those companies in any European countries. Legally, you can challenge it. There's a whole focus. We are shifting to the Europe. We are already started working with many MEPs, the member of European parliamentarians. There are different rights group, but we have to work with the policymakers. We have to work with the political parties. We have to work with the global capital, people who have a power. I mean, just give you one example. I don't know if you've heard about Norwegian pension fund, one of the biggest pension fund of the world. And it's a mind-boggling data, Venkat sir. The Norwegian pension fund, which is a public and sovereign pension fund, has a fund size which is the market. If you go to their website, is a $1.8 trillion. It's almost 1/3 of India's economy. And they are interested to know that what they can do. And what is their interest? Because they have a huge investment in the Varun Beverages and the Pepsi company. So you need to really find out who are these institutions who has the power to shift the market, who has the power to challenge the impunity and ignorance of the market. And until you don't do that, nothing will change. Because locally in India, most of our system is collapsed. You go and file the cases, you go and file public interest litigations, your hearing do not come for the listing. You go to the government is totally sold to the big corporations, crony capitalist circle like Adani's and Ambani's. So you don't have much space to do something. And that's why you have to reimagine and reimagine the way of functioning. If you ask me that if I'm using or kind of tarnishing the image of India, no, absolutely not. I'm saying that all the big companies who want to come and work here in India, they have to respect law of the land. They have to respect the workers, right? They cannot make billions of dollars by exploiting the India's working class. So technically, I'm saying that respect our constitution, respect our law. You cannot do that. You cannot ignore it. So this is a message to also for us to the government of India, and they cannot ignore it. So here I stop. I don't want to. I mean, I have much to speak. There are other examples and so on, but that's a strategy. That's a whole campaigning. That's a thinking we are using, and the whole power lies on organizing. If there's no organizing on the ground, you can't do anything. Thank you so much.
Those who are here can ask questions, I guess, now.
Questions, yeah. Thank you, everybody. And we are going into question and answers. You can ask a question. Please limit to one question, or you can make a comment and give a suggestion. It's a very important educational subject for all of us, and ignored by governments, ignored by civil society. And it's very appalling to see what Chandan Garu speak. So we'll go into question and answers. Raise your hands. I see Venkat Reddy Garu already raised his hands. He's from MBA Foundation. He worked a lot on the child labor, school dropouts.
Chandanji,
Yeah, go ahead.
you put it in a short and very powerful way. Thank you for that talk. And explaining us the supply chain and the big players. I think there is a European level on the governments, the consumers also putting pressure somewhere. And as you rightly pointed out, the organizing is the only way, definitely. Is that also helping us in the putting pressure? That is one question. And in Indian context, actually, a lot of we also experienced, if you compare the national corporates are not that much of, as you said, they are very powerful. When they are not linked to global, they are not, responding any law. They are all law breakers. that's very, if you put it. Somewhere, what do you see that difference of this responses from the states like Europe and US and our governments, as you said, but the informal sector and some of the production is done by the national corporates on behalf of companies. It looks like local farmer. It's looked like local thing. So just to throw and for the audience, and also I would like to also know. Thank you.
Yeah. So can I take some more questions and then reply, or should I just go one by one?
I think that's better.
Okay, then yeah. Let's collect another question from Srinivas. Please.
Hello, I'm Srinivas from Baltimore. It's really, Chandanji, it's a very great talk. I see your understanding between this about the modern labor, all that, like the bigger companies, so what they're doing it. Really great, just one question. I'm really unfortunate to know why the women in India, they're forced to go hysterectomy. What is the reason? Because that causes a lot of health issues. But is it a forced hysterectomy they do it? I didn't understand. You said, you mentioned, most of the women worker in the sugarcane, they underwent a hysterectomy. I don't know the logic or the reason the companies doing it, or how they're forcing it. If you can answer that one, then that would be great.
Thank you. Thank you, Srinivas.
Yeah, I have something.
Kailan Garu. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, just one or two clarification. We have sugar industries owners here. Are they also a kind of a corporates or whether small scale industries? And when it is linked to global capital, is there any contradiction between them? Whatever may be the contradiction, whether of course we can't expect the people here to be nationalist or something like that. That is one thing. The other is just, can you elaborate this digital capitalism compared to industrial capitalism or something like that. Little bit.
Sure. Sure.
And one more question from Kumar Doshala. He's a High Court advocate. Kumar, unmute and ask question. Kumar.
My question is that now, as he said in the conversation, that bonded labor is in different ways. So even after in India, when we see all the this bonded labors, and now the state and the structure is differently appearing, because previously what we observed is some is the uh, representation is directly reflected, but right now it is not reflecting in that, but in indirect way it is implementing, like as we see the IT employees or some other employment, wherever we see, even after they are paying the money and whatever the remuneration is there, but it is one way is a payment towards the work, and another way is they are making as a labors, as we see even in a provisions or any other things. So that is one way. And what are the methods to implement, even after having a number of acts and all those? The people are not understanding how they are treated, how they are treating as a labor and all those. So what are the methods to make aware them, and how to get to know them that they are working as a worker or labor, bonded laborers? Thank you.
Yeah, and anybody else have a question? We are collecting questions, or you can let me check if anything in the chat area. Okay, Venkatreddy already covered. Okay, so the Chandan, I have actually quick. I work for. I'm an IT engineer, but I got into finance later on. So I was visiting one day India, a multinational company, a very powerful company, and end of the day, and I was walking out of the office. There's I came out of my own office. There's one young lady. She's very stressed, and it's a 7 o'clock, already 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. in the night. I asked her, like, why, she's standing in front of her manager. And I said, hey, your buses are going. What are you doing? Oh no, sir, I have to say goodbye to my boss. Why? No, you will get very angry if I leave before I leave. Like, no, that's nonsense. Go, just leave. I'll tell him tomorrow. So, and then next day, I asked many people, these managers, uh, are so, I don't know, so cruel. Okay, so cruel. And they start their day so early in the morning, and they work so late hours. And I speak to my friend doctor, he's in the high-tech city area. Roy, these young kids have so many problems, psychological problem, back pains, blood pressures, and they're addicted to so many painkillers. So in the same MNCs you talk about, they are so scared of labor laws in America. Labor citations are very dangerous. They're more serious than any other the business citations. You take OSHA, any other citations. So we get people like us who know the international law trade. Why we are not putting pressure on these multinationals? That's and how we educate the both sides, IT workers as well as these MNCs, that the work-life balance is so important. And also, I'm really concerned about those addiction to alcohol and chronic medications. Thank you.
I mean, there's a big conference. I don't know, people who are in IT industry in America. There's a big conference in LA on these issues about the IT industry workers. So if any of you are available and happy to go, I'm happy to connect you with that. It's organized by AFL-CIO, American Federation of Labor, and SAG-AFTRA. I don't know. I mean, I don't have expertise to talk about, in today's world, the younger people are into so much stress situation. They are into drugs and alcohol and many things, many things which, as per our indicators, we don't see as a good values or something. I mean, I don't know, but that's the one thing. I mean, I just gave you the example, Rayadas ji, that this whole narrative, the whole you know kind of statement by L&T chairman, 90 hours work hour. What is the whole rationale of the statement? That India is shining, India is growing. At this moment, younger people have to contribute, building the economy, and so and so. So I have heard this such things, that when I speak to some people in America or Europe, we want to, if I say an unparliamentary language, please forgive me, let me slog my ass for till 40. I want to take an early retirement. I want to do something else in my life, and so on. So there are people who are working on the mental health question. There are people who are working on these things, but I don't know if I'm the right person or have a knowledge to talk about it. But one thing is very clear, that of course this economy and the current system demands you to contribute more. They pay you very less, but they demand a more productivity. And linking this whole productivity question, let me start by saying that, I just talked about sugar industry. Nirmala ji talked about shrimp industry. We just started organizing shrimp industry workers. I think I understand most of the people in this group are Telugu speaking people or Telugu community. And I don't know if you know it, India has become the second largest shrimp exporting country in the world. And out of that, 73 to 74% shrimp produced from the Kakinada belt. And what is the market capital of that? It's $9 billion. So India is shining in many ways. And that's all shining is happening on the forced labor and bonded labor. So you still have the conventional forms of bonded labor at this moment, which has never gone. You go to the brick lane, you go to agriculture, all these traditional sectors where people, like a lot of people, people work, like people like S.R. Sankaran and many people, B.N. Yogandhar. And I think these are the people who I met in Hyderabad and undivided Andhra Pradesh, who are been working on the bonded labor issues. All are same. It's just about that how we creative enough to understand or kind of mapping the supply chain, and then challenging the impunity of all these big companies. I don't know we will be successful or not, but this is the need of an hour. So I feel that the bonded labor is still exists in the same format. Bonded labor has extended in the current forms of economy. And then I would like to address the question which one friend asked about digital capitalism and industrial capitalism. Everything is a part of industrial capitalism. I'm using digital capitalism for a reason, and the reason is that how knowledge economy and how the IT sector in the layman's language, but this whole knowledge economy, the whole digital economy have taken over the industry-based economy. You go and see all the big companies and big revenues, Microsoft to open AI platform to name it. All these companies and all the technology or the company who provide the data solutions and so on, Facebook to Meta, and all these companies have become, because it's kind of very it's amazing. I mean, I would say that someone like us who are trying to understand how the digital economy functions and how digital capitalism is taking over all the jobs is very, very difficult to comprehend. I give you a small example. Informal workers traditionally, let's say that service the workers who are providing services to your house, plumber, carpenters, domestic workers, beauticians, people who provide the beauty services, all these workers are now part of the platform companies called Urban Company. Used to be called Urban Club. What is the Urban Company market share in the service industry? Is 86%. So all your traditional jobs, technically falling under the bonded labor language, now taken over by the digital space. So that's why I'm using this wave of digital capitalism. This is a new wave. Same jobs, same kind of work, it's just kind of glorifying a new language called gig economy or gig workers is absolutely bullshit. Sorry for, please forgive me for my unparliamentary language. It's the same people, it's the same kind of job. It's just about the changing the nature of employment relation, which is controlled by your AI-led system. Like workers are going to somewhere, it's under surveillance. The technology follows you all the time. And how that has basically maximized the profit for most of these companies who have been there in the same market, but they're just using the technology to maximize the profit. So that's why I want to make a distinction here between digital capitalism versus industrial capitalism, but technically is a part of same capitalism. They are just using technology to enhance their coverage or maximize their profit. The question of hysterectomy, in my opinion, there are different views. If you read the New York Times series, you will find a lot of your answers, because New York Times did a lot of digging on that. There are many reasons for the hysterectomy. One reason is that you go to sugar farm and you see women. I don't know if you know that, how the whole migration and the bonded situation functions. So there's a system called Koita system. So traffickers or / labor contractors on behalf of sugar mills goes to far-flung areas in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, give an advance, same system, bonded labor, give advance, and then the whole family migrates for sugar cutting, right? They migrate to Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana. Now Telangana is emerging, Andhra Pradesh is emerging, Tamil Nadu is emerging as a sugar industry. And if you go and see that, women are never counted, but women are very much part of the whole system, and she's responsible for the production. But women gets her menstrual cycle, she can't work because she doesn't have that capacity to produce or give a time for the sugarcane, cutting. And in some of the conventional ways, she's also considered, kind of impure during those times. And that's why the industry, through some different, system, are pushing these women to have a hysterectomy so that she can work more productive way, and also she's not impure while doing the industrial activity. So there are many reasons, but these are the two main reasons have been identified by people and movement, that there's a whole force hysterectomy over 100,000 in a way. So that's a one. That's I mean, this is shame that you have 100,000 women had a hysterectomy. I mean, for me, it's a shame. Like, and how many and why there is no outrage and uproar about it? It's shame on us. I would like to, say, there are different governments for sure. I mean, Indian government or the European government or American government, all these government have the mandate, but how much they do it, how much they contribute to it is subject to your efforts. As I said in the beginning, you have many systems, but those systems don't work until you have a pressure. And those pressure can only come when you have a organizing. So I feel that even Indian state, even in this critical situation, they can listen to you if you have a power. So on ground, it's difficult to organize, but if you can organize, they will listen to you. European government, American government, activating these institutions will just kind of amplify your efforts. I'm not saying they will give you quick result, but amplify your efforts. Your issues get more recognition. There will be more pressure on that. Nothing more than that. But these are very important players. You cannot work in isolation. You cannot work in silos. You need to build the global alliances. You need to build the global solidarity, because your economy is global. Your everything is global. How can you work in the local areas and local ways, say that we have nothing to do with those people? So that's why you need to build a different kind of partners and allies to make things happen and push your demand and push your agenda forward. Yeah.
Chandanji, are there any protective legislations? This is Padmaja. Are there any protective legislations elsewhere in Europe or US which can impact, India also, if those companies are operating here or importing stuff from here? Like, Shivkashi and all these places where child labor was involved, they started banning and there was an impact. of that.
Mm.
So
Mm.
is there something of that kind that is a possibility, or does it exist?
See, I think America lecture on democracy, the democracy to the whole world, but America has such a sad legal system. You know, I don't know what to say. You have a basically a law called America has a law called NLRB, which is National Labor Regulation Board Act, which has the power to recognize any union and also give legitimacy to the unions for the collective bargaining. So NLRB, Padmaja, has a lot of power, but how you use it, that's the whole question. Even you go to the Midwest or South, like Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, Florida, and those areas, which is the huge agro industry, and NLRB Act is not applicable in those places. So there is a lot of local effort. So there, I also see that the two America, one America is very much around the East Coast or the West Coast, which I say that, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia and these areas, and then you have California and that area. So very few parts of America you have actually organizing. I don't know if you know that what is the union density in America is not even 3%, but even 3% is very important because America is a capitalist country. So it depends on how you organize and how you use the legal system. But most of the legal system in America is meant for the industrial capital or industrial kind of sectors. And it's very, very tricky. It's very, you have a law called, the Equal Fair Share Act or Fair Share Act, something, I forgot the name. And there are some laws which prohibits you to bring stuff which is produced through the forced labor. So for example, Consumer and the Border Patrol Control, which is the Homeland Security unit, has a huge power. They can sue some of these big companies. They can sue and challenge some of these companies because they have a mandate to do the investigation and stop forced labor manufactured goods to coming to the American territory and so on. So there are some legal system which can stop the international product to coming to America, which means that you're putting pressure on big companies on supply chain, and you also have a legal system which is good for the industrial workers, but not very good for the like a H2A visa. I don't know if you know that there's so many workers coming to the agro industry in America from El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, Paraguay, Nicaragua, and so on H2A visa. And large number of these workers are forced labor and bonded labor in America. But there's no law, no legal system. There are some efforts on organizing, but it's a long task to move ahead. So America has a huge problem as far as the bonded labor is concerned, and that's why we always say to the lot of people in America who reach out to us that please don't help us. Help your people, help your government, because you have your own problem, right? So instead of you bringing your investment to India and etc., first, you challenge your companies there, because they are the one who are making us slave in a way in the global South. So that's the one way to understanding and addressing thing. In Europe, the first legislation is called German supply chain law. Germany is the first country in the world which talks about supply chain accountability. And if you ask me that law has changed something, no, absolutely not. But it's a law. It's a first framework. It's a first concept which talks about the global North companies' accountability towards cleaning the supply chain in Tier 2 and Tier 3 system. You can't say that that Pepsi company is okay, or as you rightly said, that Microsoft is okay in Tier 2 and Tier 3 supply chain. Downstairs people who are cutting sugar, or people who are the part-time workers who are creating your content and digital data, their situation is very bad. So parent company have to be accountable towards the subcontractors, and the German supply chain law talks about it. Now you have a new law which passed last year. It's called CSDDD, the new EU directives. That is very powerful law, but this will take some time to be enforced. I don't know how long, maybe 1 and 2 years, but there's a lot of discussion going on. So for example, the Dutch Labour Party, the famous MEP called Lara Wolfers. She's a very, very big voice. Lila Shabi in France. So you have some super enthusiastically MEPs who are talking about it. So it's important that even CSDDD get some time to implement, but it's very important that you work with all these politicians and make sure that the companies in Europe start working on it. They should not wait for the law to be enforced. They should start talking to the rights holder on the ground and start enforcing all this vision and the framework of the human rights and the labor rights. Yeah.
Sorry for repetition. I am asking, is there any contradiction between this domestic capital and global capital?
No, they are all same. There's no contradiction. All are same.
Yeah.
The same money. I gave you the example of SoftBank is a very clear example on venture capital. So same thing. I mean, I gave you the example of Norwegian pension fund. The same company is supporting many such companies. I don't see there's any difference. The economy is global, and the local capital, the global capital, all same. So that's why you need a very robust strategy. You need to dig in a lot of information. You need to spend a lot of time on the ground to understanding who is doing what, who's purchasing from where, who's investing where. So you need to really spend a quality time on the ground. Then you will be able to understand all these questions. Yeah.
Chandanji, now all the state governments are competing each other to ease of doing business and bringing them capital and then employment, and they're attracting a lot of how they are doing it, but the labor laws or ease of doing is minimizing the labor laws. Labor inspectors are not going there, SEZs. And how do we see employment generation? Do you face any challenge about what are you doing यार, इधर employment generate हो रहा है, तुम लोग क्यों company को पकड़ रहे हैं? That dilemma anytime, and how do you resolve that? That's yeah. Thank you.
तो ये तो बिल्कुल सही बात है ना. ये तो अभी हमने एक्सपीरियंस किया है कर्नाटक में they drafted the law for the protecting the rights of gig workers, and so they missed the monsoon session last year. They missed the winter session in December, and there's an announcement by the Rahul Gandhi ki कानून बनाना है, law बनाना है कर्नाटक में, and Siddaramaiah wants to do it, but DK Shivkumar doesn't want to do it. So you have basically the whole power dynamics that Chief Minister wants to do it because Rahul Gandhi wants to do it, but Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivkumar doesn't want to do it. And why? Because Karnataka, is a Silicon Valley of India. So, just to answering your question, I don't know if you know it. Manmohan Singh ji passed away just a few days ago, and the father of the modern economy, who brought the economic liberalization and so on. So, who's the first state who became the champion of economic liberalization? Who's the first state in India who said that come invest, we will create jobs, and you don't need to comply on labor laws, don't need to comply for any tax laws? Which state, Venkat sir? Do you know about that? Who was the state?
Andhra Pradesh?
No, it's a Karnataka. It's a SM Krishna government. Okay. The SM Krishna government was the first government in India which said that come and invest, we will create jobs. Yeah, and all these companies are not, and then the Chandrababu Naidu followed the same path after the SM Krishna. So you have a story starting in the late 90s. So this question, Venkat sir, is not relevant anymore. And why it's not relevant anymore? That's the whole competition. But the main thing is that we need to revisit Baba Saheb Ambedkar Constitution. And Constitution is very clear that the labor is in the concurrent list. It is in the central list and the state list, which means the state has the power to make a law, and central government also has the power to make the laws. It all depends that what is our politics, how we influencing our politics. I mean, you want to defeat right-wing agenda, but how will you defeat it? Your Congress party chief minister is hanging out with Adani. Congress party chief minister is not able to push the law which your leader is promising. So there's no differentiation. So until you don't make the political agenda, until you don't have the political constituency who will rally behind this political agenda, is difficult. There's a competition. You are right about that. There's a huge competition that come invest. We create a jobs. You're not complying. Can you, Venkat sir? You know about it. In Maharashtra, there's an industrial policy that you come and invest, and you don't need to pay single taxes for next 5 years. Just create jobs. Not even single tax. Forget about the labor law compliance. Forget about the labor law. There's no need for labor law compliance. You also don't have to pay taxes. And you know what companies are doing? Companies are coming, taking the land on the public money, with land which is built on the public money. You do the business, make a profit. 5 years down the line, you shut down the industry and start the new plant somewhere else, because you want to avoid the tax compliances. So what you call the whole idea of special economic zone. I mean, all the progressive governments, so-called the Dravidian politics and Periyar politics, DMK, right, in Tamil Nadu. You go to Tamil Nadu, you have a garment industry coming. You go to the whole Western Tamil Nadu, starting from Tirupur to Erode to Namakkal to Madurai, the whole Western Tamil Nadu. You go to the garment industry. What is this garment industry? They are manufacturing for Zara, CNA, H&M, all the big brands of Europe and America. And you go to those sweatshop and the factory floor, you will find 18 years tribal women coming from Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, and manufacturing for Zara and CNA. Not a single women you will find that have not faced sexual exploitation. Not a single woman you will find that have a statutory minimum job. And you go and talk to the local DMK leaders, they say, we are not interested. So I would say that how will you counter the right-wing politics? How will you counter Modi's politics? So your politics is totally confused, and even the progressive lots, so-called social democrats, have totally lost it and totally ignored the people's agenda. So this is going to be the competitive time. Every state now in the run. Now Uttar Pradesh is offering a biggest solution on automobile industry. They want the Gujarat, Maharashtra to shift there because they are offering better facilities. So it is going to be there, but it depends on how we are organizing. We cannot just say that, keep saying we are organizing and we are doing this, little work on. I mean, it's important work. I would say that. I'm not. Please don't misunderstand me. There are some people are doing some activities on, running this education, running water, and this and that. But I would say that until you don't challenge or don't hammer on the political economy, things will get more critical. So there is a need to do something on the key points and emphasizing on certain agenda, which is life and death for the working class at this moment.
There are a couple of questions in the chat. I'm going to read out. It is from Ajay Yadav. So the demand side management, the demand for labor, depends on the political framework. So the laws have existed in India since 1936. The law is Payment of Wages Act, but there is very little emphasis on how to ensure that the laws are implemented. Is there a plan for tackling this issue? First question. Second question, Chandanji also touched upon the supply side, but the problem of ensuring that the supply nature of the labor is not exploited is untouched. Is there a plan? How can the Mathadi model be extended to rural labor?
So, see, the supply and demand, surplus, all of these are there. I mean, I'm not saying these things are not there, but what is your strategy? That's the whole question about strategy. And if you have a right strategy, you can make things happen. Mathadi model, of course, the Rajasthan gig workers law was drafted on the principles of Mathadi Act. The Karnataka gig workers law was drafted on the principle of Mathadi Act. So we are using Mathadi Act in, there is a new ILO convention. So I came, Rayadasji, in your city early this year and last year also at the Harvard Law School. And there was a whole discussion going on the new ILO convention on the supply chain. And I'm happy to share the document if anybody want to read that. But there is a small group at the Harvard Law School, and I'm a part of it. We are drafting it, and the idea is to basically have a ILO convention as a global standard, and then subsequently you have a laws coming up on supply chain, including in India. So the whole supply chain discourse, we use the Mathadi model as a central discourse for building it up. So in my opinion, Mathadi model is the only framework which can fix the problem of supply chain. At least at this moment, I don't see any other framework. Yeah, I don't. If I missed any question, I don't know. But yeah.
So Chandan, actually, okay. So we have a civil society, we have a government, we have but what is happening to the legal in America? You know that the trial lawyers, they go after these corporations for everything, violation of the labor, wage discrimination, gender discrimination. Really, the trial lawyers are all over this issue. And why the heck in India, no lawyer going after these organizations which are outright breaking the laws? So why the legal system, at least these independent lawyers, of course, the judiciary is under the thumb of governments, rulers, feudal rulers, but why these independent lawyers, advocates, not suing, not filing cases on these organizations which are violating all these laws?
So I don't agree, because I can also give you a couple of examples where the American legal system have given an order in the favor of corporations. So I don't know if you know it, Louisiana, where a governor declared Uber has to pay the minimum wages to the workers, and the company said that we are kind of finishing off, we are shutting down our operations, and the legal system had to withdraw that order. So there are many examples in America too. I mean, America has, you have a, the constitutional space to speak for everything, but as a legal system is working, I will not say, because I work very, very closely with American trade union system. So I don't think so. They also have a very effective system. In India, I don't know if you have not read it, but I encourage you to read a brilliant article written by Saurav Das for Karma, and he wrote a 46-page article about the journey of ex-Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud. And he explained that how Chief Justice of India was compromised, and he was working and completely working in the hands of gloves of government. So in my opinion, though we have a three pillars of democracy: executive, judiciary, and legislative, but legislative have taken over the judiciary and executive both. So there is a completely hegemonized system we are seeing by the political regime in this country. So judiciary is not independent. We have seen some good orders. I mean, look at the Justice Krishna Iyer order on the bonded labor, and there are many such historical jurisprudence pronouncement which changed and really brought the constitution in that spirit. But those days are over now. At this moment, I don't think so the judiciary is functioning very independently.
Chandan, this is a very, very interesting topic. We love to, I think, have you back, because there are a lot to cover on the labor side, the labor union side. But since we have a limited time, and thank you so much for education. This is the area most exploited and most ignored and neglected. But I think this is I felt that this is more of introduction. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.